Okay guys, so Dan Ives put out a $50 price target on Palantir today for 2025, and that is crazy. He obviously hates my covered calls that I wrote a few days ago, and the momentum around Palantir is just unbelievable. We just cannot seem to get a pullback. We are just going straight up and up and up, and today even the bear, Chris Patel, gave up his bearish short position. It wasn't really a short position. It was more like an iron condor, which is a very advanced option strategy where the stock has to be in a range for him to win. But he even gave this up. So the bears are falling, and today was a very, very red day except for Tesla and Palantir. So what the heck is going on? I wanted to make a video about this. How real is this $50 price target, and what do I think about the stock? It's soon earnings. It's going to be an exciting video. Please make sure you're subscribed, and let's get going. And by the way, I want to thank the 16 channel members and the 2 or 3 patrons that support the channel. You guys are amazing, and thank you to all of you who are here. So Dan Ives tweeted today, with AI spending taking up more spending in IT budgets as more organizations learn how to properly implement this tech, we believe the Messi of AI Palantir is in a prime spot to continue expanding its pipeline as AIP is front and center. New bull case target, Palantir, $50. So one very important thing to understand is that this is not his base case. Like, this is like if everything goes Palantir's way. But still, how the heck did he get to this number? And he obviously hates my covered calls that I wrote. So a few days ago, when the stock was near the top here, I wrote $35 December covered calls. And luckily, I covered at the market open when it was still down here. So I made a cool $1,600. But I've just been so nervous about this cover call because I feel that there is so much momentum with this stock. I cannot believe that we can't even get a normal red day like Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab is able to go up like crazy, and then look, this is a 3.5% red day. Like, this is what a red day looks like, not this, I don't even know what this is. So currently we're even unable to get a freaking red day. So first of all, before I go into the explanation of if I think this is real or not, there is 2 things that we need to separate. So one, there is the actual valuation of the company. So when you do your own valuation, you come to a number. And then there is what the market irrationally thinks about the stock, right? So one of the best one good case explanation of this is when Palantir was down in the 6s. Every analyst was, if I remember well, was saying that the stock should be between $10 to $14, or maybe it was like 7 to 12. So mathematically, you couldn't get down to the 6s, and yet some bears were saying that it's going to go lower, it's going to go to the 3s, don't buy. So that was a case where, you know, the valuation was here, and then the market was completely irrational, and the stock price was here. So getting to 50, I think it could be a case of this when it's flipped. So your valuation is here, but the market is FOMOing so much irrationally that the stock price is here. So that's one way to get to 50. And that can happen because, to be honest, I cannot predict what the market is going to do. I'm not that smart. So in this video, we're going to explore the possibility of the valuation actually getting to 50. So not like some weird fluke of the market being completely irrational. Arnie did a very, very good tweet about this. He said Palantir could reach $50 by 2025 according to Dan Ives. That's almost 2x from current price. How reasonable is it? $50 per share is 120 billion in market cap. To reach 120 million, Palantir needs a 41 EV to sales, which is, like Arnie is calculating here, 21% CAGR. And that is the current growth rate of Palantir. So they would need a 41 EV to sales. And remember, Palantir is the most expensive SaaS company currently, even more expensive than CrowdStrike, at 21 EV to sales ratio. So that means that would be an exuberantly super expensive valuation to Palantir. So I think that this is out of the question. We need higher growth. So 33 times EV to sales on 3.5 2025 revenue, which would be a 26 CAGR, and 31 EV to sales on 3.8 on 30%, so 3.8 billion in revenue and 30% CAGR. So this is the version where Palantir is still nosebleedingly expensive. So we can see that what is really needed for this valuation is the growth rate of Palantir has to go up. So notice the first case of 21 CAGR is aligned with analysis consensus, which I consider very low given the business momentum. A 41 EV to sales for a 21% growth sounds very unlikely to me, too pricey. So Dan Ives is very confident growth will exceed that 21% mark. So this is what's so tricky about Palantir right now, is that we all know the growth is exploding. We just don't know if it's going to be 25, is it going to be 35, is it going to be 40%? That's what we cannot put our finger on. And I do believe that this recent run that we have had in the stock price is basically pricing in that everybody, even your grandmother, if you ask her, she's like, guys, AIP is working by Palantir. Even your grandmother freaking knows, okay? So what your grandmother and none of us knows is how much the sales is increasing. So obviously it's not 21 CAGR. So even at 30% growth, the multiple is 31 EV sales is ambitious. Assuming 35% free cash flow margin like last quarter, it would mean a 90 EV to free cash flow, which is clearly high. Now it's 63, but reachable. If the free cash flow margin expanded to 40%, it would be a 77 EV to free cash flow, which is more reasonable. So here you can see again that still with the 30% growth, even Arnie is saying that you would have a 90 times EV to free cash flow, which is clearly high. So even Arnie is talking about this version that the valuation is here and then the market is FOMOing the price to here, right? That's like when Tesla was at $400 with 2000 P or whatever the P was back in 2021. So at 30 CAGR, the 2026 EV sales would be 26, which could be sustained if Palantir shares confidence in maintaining very strong growth while capturing AI opportunity or even accelerating. The business momentum is so strong in both commercial and government that I consider it to be in the realm of possibilities. Dan Ives essentially expects valuation multiples to increase, growth to accelerate, and margins to expand. Fitzkeith who was very confident below $10 on the company's success, was the first to share a $50 price target. I didn't know this, so Dan Ives is not even the first one to give this price target. That's pretty crazy. This seems absurd at first, but the story evolved and improved, and we saw that it was not absurd at all. It was only ambitious. I personally expect the business to accelerate in the coming quarters, which could help the stock maintain very high multiples. I believe Palantir could return to 30% CAGR, backed by the strength of its AIP product and the very high demand for AI solution. Employees are very incentivized to reach ambitious growth targets because at $50, they would receive additional shares in the form of SARs. Check the post below. Palantir is currently at 21 EV to sales and is the most expensive SaaS ahead of CrowdStrike, which is 20 times EV sales. Will Palantir deserve a $50 price by 2025? So very, very good tweet. Now I just want to look at my own valuation and I want to play with you guys here. I'm going to take my big head away because I want to see what I need to change on this to get this share price number in 2025 to 50. So before you give me hate comments, I know it says 24 and I'm not updating this before I hear the earnings. And currently I was thinking with 25% growth, 32% free cash flow. So that's what Palantir calls adjusted operating income. So 32% adjusted operating income and 3% dilution. And I am thinking with a 50% free cash flow multiple on the cash flow. And this is how I get a 55 million market cap. You divide that by the shares and you get a $24 target price for 2025. So let's increase the growth because we know that that is increasing. That still only gets us to 26. And here is the deal. So now we have to increase to go, either we need to increase the growth or we need to increase the free cash flow, but the free cash flow is already crazy high. But let's increase it to 35. The price target is still only 28. So now we have to touch the multiples. So let's say if something is growing at 30%, is a 50 multiple. I think you could give it a 70 multiple. That's very, very high, but you could give that. And we are still at 39. And so here we had 3 of the best case scenarios. So we had growth re-accelerating, we had margins improving, and we had multiples improving. And we are still only at 40, not even 40 freaking dollars. Okay, so now let's try to get this baby to 50. So let's say the growth goes to 35. Let's say the margin goes to 37, which is crazy high at this point. And let's say the multiple goes to 75. No, the multiple has to go all the way to 80. Then we get 51. So is the price of $50 real next year? In my opinion, probably not. Can it happen? That's, again, now we're speaking about like what the value of the company and then what the market gives it. And can it happen? And the truth is, yes, it can happen because the market can be very, very irrational. We're in the age of AI and it started with NVIDIA going on its crazy run. But we all know that you're investing into the chips so that you can run your software on this. So many people are thinking and saying that we are going to have the great rotation out of hardware, and rightfully we are going to be in software again. And who is the key software players that are making money on AI, that are making good money on AI? Because Microsoft is having a low double-digit growth, same with Google, same with Facebook. So if Palantir is the company that is clearly monetizing AI, is spreading like wildfire, they are going to be the prime company that everybody is going to be want to be in. And that could result in a very unrational price of 50. I think that the valuation, it would be very hard to see that it gets to 50, but hey, let's see what happens on earnings. Thank you so much for watching. If you got value out of this, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.